Chosen one, there was a night. God did not stay seated. Heaven did not stay quiet. And the reason was you. Chosen one, your attitude made God scream, and even Lucifer fell silent. Let me ask you something that's going to cut deep. Why are you still here? After the funerals you've attended, after the diagnosis that should destroyed you, after the betrayals that should buried you, why didn't you break? And here's the one that's going to shake you. What if the moment you almost gave up was the exact moment heaven stood up? Listen to me carefully. There's something they never told you about your suffering. People saw your wrinkles. God saw your warfare. You've buried friends. You've watched your body betray you one joint at a time. You've seen your children turn cold, your savings disappear, your health reports get worse. Social security barely covers the pills. The church you served for 40 years forgot your name. You sit alone at 3 a.m. wondering if anyone remembers you're still breathing. But what if I told you there was a day, one specific day you don't even remember, when your attitude in the middle of that hell provoked a reaction in heaven and a reaction in hell? What if I told you there was a meeting about you? Before we go deeper, I need to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and let the Spirit lead. But right now, if you feel in your spirit this word is for you, if something just stirred in your chest, I need you to type 5 words in the comments. Lord, I'm still standing. Don't you dare click off, because somewhere in the middle of this message, I'm going to reveal the exact moment God screamed your name so loud that Lucifer backed into the shadows. You don't even know the moment I'm talking about yet. But before this hour is over, you will. The day your attitude went on trial. Do you know what terrifies hell more than your prayers? Do you know what makes demons back away faster than your worship songs? Here's what nobody told you. It's your attitude when nobody's watching. When the bills are due and the bank account's empty. When the doctor's report comes back bad. When your own children stop calling. That attitude, that choice you make in the dark, is being recorded in a place most people don't even know exists. Let me tell you about a courtroom you've never seen, but you've been standing in your entire life. Turn with me to the book of Job, chapter 1, verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. Did you catch that? There was a day, a specific day, a divine appointment. And in that courtroom of heaven, Satan walked in with one agenda, to prove that your faithfulness is fake, that your worship is transaction, that if God removes his hand, you'll curse him to his face. But here's what shakes me to my core every time I read this passage. God didn't defend Job with miracles. He didn't point to Job's prayers or his offerings. Verse 8 says, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God, and escheweth evil?" God bragged about Job's character, his attitude, his integrity. Chosen one, listen to me carefully. There is a spiritual courtroom where your reactions, your words, your attitude under crushing pressure are being recorded. Not to condemn you, to defend you. Every morning you got up when depression told you to stay in bed. Every time you forgave when bitterness was easier. Every moment you praised God with tears streaming down your face, heaven was taking notes. Your attitude in private has more power than your words in public. I'm talking to someone right now who thinks they're invisible. You think because you're 75, 80, 85 years old, God's moved on to the younger generation. You think because your body's slowing down, your impact is fading. You think because the world stopped noticing you, heaven stopped watching you. That's a lie straight from the pit of hell. Let me tell you what heaven sees. Heaven doesn't see age. Heaven sees attitude. Heaven doesn't measure you by how fast you move. Heaven measures you by how firm you stand. You think you're in your leftover years. You're in your evidence years. Every morning you wake up and choose faith over fear. Every night you go to bed still trusting God when nothing makes sense. That's evidence in heaven's courtroom that's more powerful than any argument Satan can make. You are not winding down, beloved. You are being presented as Exhibit A. But here's where it gets deeper. Here's where the mystery unfolds in a way that will change how you see every attack you've ever faced. The enemy doesn't just throw trials at you randomly. He's strategic, he's watching. 1 Peter 5:8 warns us, be sober, be vigilant. Because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Seeking whom he may devour, not attacking everyone. Seeking, studying, watching for weakness. And here's his strategy that most believers miss. He doesn't just watch how you react during the attack. He watches your attitude after the attack. When the storm passes and you're left standing in the wreckage. When the betrayal is over but the wound is still fresh. When the diagnosis is delivered and the doctor leaves the room. That moment right there. That's what hell is watching for. Because the enemy was sure you would break. He was certain that this time, after all you've been through, after everything you've lost, after everyone who's walked away, this time you'd finally crack. This time you'd finally curse God. This time you'd finally give up. And when you didn't, when you wiped your tears, straightened your back and whispered, God, I still trust you. That's when Lucifer had nothing to say. That's the moment he fell silent. Because your attitude just shattered his entire case against you. The demon assigned to break you just had to file a report in hell that said, this one won't break. You think you're just surviving. You think you're barely hanging on. Dear one, you're doing something far more powerful than that. You're winning a case in heaven's courtroom that you didn't even know you were fighting. But here's the question that's burning in my spirit right now, and it's going to lead us into something that will shake you. If your attitude has that much power in the spiritual realm, if heaven is recording it and hell is watching it, what exactly is the attitude that made God scream and Lucifer fall silent? What does that attitude look like in real life? In your kitchen at 6 a.m. when the loneliness hits? In your bedroom at midnight when the pain won't stop? In your bank account when the numbers don't add up? What is the specific profile of the attitude that shuts Satan's mouth and makes heaven stand to its feet? Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you next isn't theory. It's the exact blueprint of the attitude that changes everything. You think you're the first one whose attitude caught heaven's attention. You think you're the only one who praised God while your world was burning down around you. Let me take you somewhere. Let me show you that what you've been living through isn't random suffering. It's biblical warfare. And you're not alone in this fight. Job prays in the ashes. There was a man named Job, richest man in the East, 10 children, thousands of livestock, respected, honored, blessed beyond measure. Then in one single day, it all burned. His children crushed under a collapsed house. His wealth stolen or destroyed. His health ravaged with boils from head to toe. His own wife looked at him sitting in ashes, scraping his sores with broken pottery, and said, "Curse God and die." But listen to what Job said. Listen carefully, because this is where heaven leaned forward. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be, in the ashes, in the grief, in the physical agony, in the financial ruin, in the total collapse of everything he'd built for 70 years. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Some of you know exactly what that feels like, don't you? You've buried your spouse of 53 years. You've watched your retirement evaporate in 20 team. You've sat in doctors' offices hearing words like terminal and progressive and irreversible. You've seen your children stop calling, your grandchildren forget your birthday, your body betray you one system at a time. And still, somewhere in that devastation, you whispered, "God, I trust you." That whisper, that broken, barely audible whisper, it shook heaven more than you'll ever know. Because hell was watching, waiting for you to curse God and die. And you didn't. You wouldn't, you couldn't. Why are you still praising when you have every right to be bitter? What kind of DNA is that? That's not human resilience. That's divine defiance against darkness. Joe's end betrayed, still serving. Let me show you another one, Joseph. 17 years old, dreaming dreams from God, favored by his father. Then his own brothers, his own flesh and blood, threw him in a pit and sold him like cattle to slave traders. Slavery in Egypt, false accusation of rape, prison for a crime he didn't commit, forgotten by the very people he helped. 13 years of injustice, betrayal and abandonment. But here's what gets me. Here's what made heaven take notice. In every single place Joseph landed, in the house of Potiphar, in the prison cell, he served. He interpreted dreams. He blessed others. He kept his integrity when bitterness would have been justified. Genesis 13:23 says, "The Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did." Success in prison, success in slavery. How is that even possible? Because his attitude was on trial, and he refused to fail the test. Your own bloodline may have turned their backs on you. Your children who you sacrificed everything for, they move 3 states away and call twice a year if you're lucky. Your siblings fought over the inheritance before your parents were even cold in the ground. Your church family, the people you served alongside for decades, they forgot you exist the moment you couldn't volunteer anymore. But you kept praying for them. You kept cooking Sunday dinner hoping they'd show up. You kept sending birthday cards they never acknowledged. You kept loving when love was a one-way street. That attitude went on record. Every meal you cooked for people who didn't say thank you. Every prayer you whispered for people who don't deserve it. Every act of service nobody saw. Heaven documented it all. Jesus silent before a accusation. But let me show you the ultimate example. Jesus, standing before false witnesses. Lies piled on top of lies. The religious leaders who should have recognized him were leading the prosecution. The crowd who sang, "Hosanna," 5 days earlier was screaming, "Crucify him." And what did Jesus do? Matthew 26:50 tells us, but Jesus remained silent. Not because he couldn't defend himself. Not because he didn't have the words, but because his silence was more powerful than any argument. You could have clapped back. When they gossiped about you at church, when they whispered about your finances, when they judged your parenting, when they criticized how you grieved, you could have exposed them. You could drag their secrets into the light. You could destroy them with the truth. But you chose silence. You chose dignity. You chose to let God defend you. That silence was louder in heaven than any argument you could have made on earth. Soft climax, you are more biblical than you think. Listen to me, chosen one. You keep thinking you're just an old person trying to survive. Just another senior citizen society has shuffled to the side. Just someone counting down days until heaven calls you home. But heaven calls you something else. Heaven calls you a living testimony. A breathing Bible story. A modern-day Job, Joseph, and Jesus all wrapped in wrinkled skin and arthritic hands. You are more biblical than you think. Your life isn't a sad ending. It's a hidden chapter nobody's preached yet. If any of these stories sound like your life, if you see yourself in Job's ashes or Joseph's prison or Jesus's silence, I need you to write 3 words in the comments right now. That's me, God. Don't be shy. Heaven already saw it. Now let your tribe find you. Because what I'm about to show you next will explain exactly why your attitude didn't just get heaven's attention. It made God scream your name so loud that every demon assigned to destroy you had to back down. What was that moment, and why don't you remember it? Listen to me, chosen one. I need you to stop for just a moment, right where you are. I need you to think back. Think of a night you cried by yourself. Maybe it was after the funeral. Maybe it was in that hospital room when the doctor left and you were alone with the beeping machines and the smell of antiseptic. Maybe it was at your kitchen table at 2 a.m., staring at bills you couldn't pay, wondering how you'd make it through another month. Think of a time your own children spoke to you like you were nothing, when they rolled their eyes at your wisdom, when they were too busy for your call, when they made you feel like a burden instead of the blessing you've always been to them. Think of the moment your body betrayed you, when you couldn't open the jar, when you fell and nobody was there to help you up, when you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back. Now here's what I need you to understand, and this is going to wreck you. That was not just a bad day. That was a record in heaven. You see, dear one, while you were sitting there in that darkness, while tears were running down your weathered face, while you felt forgotten and invisible and worthless, something was happening in the throne room of God that you couldn't see. The angels stopped what they were doing. The 24 elders leaned forward. The cherubim and seraphim who never cease crying, "Holy, holy, holy," went silent, because they were watching you. Job Monteith records God saying to Satan, "Have you considered my servant? But I'm telling you tonight, there was a moment when God said to all of heaven, watch this one. Watch what they're about to do." The enemy was there too. Oh, he was there. He had his notepad ready. He had his accusations prepared. He'd been studying you for years, cataloging every weakness, every failure, every moment of doubt. He was certain, absolutely certain, that this night, this moment, this breaking point would finally be the one where you cursed God and died. Hell held its breath, waiting for you to quit. But then you did something that shattered every prediction. You did something so powerful, so defiant, so absolutely devastating to the kingdom of darkness that even Lucifer himself had to back away. You whispered something. Maybe you didn't even say it out loud. Maybe it was just in your spirit, so quiet nobody on earth could hear it. You said, "Lord, I still trust you." Or maybe you said, "God, help me forgive." Or maybe all you could manage was, "Jesus." Just his name, that's all you had left, one word, one breath. One last desperate declaration that you refused to let go. And when you chose faith over bitterness, God didn't stay quiet. Beloved, listen to me. In that moment, the Almighty stood up from his throne. The creator of the universe, who spoke galaxies into existence, who holds the oceans in his hand, who numbers every star and calls them by name. He screamed your name like a proud father at a graduation. "That's my child. That's my child." Hebrews 9:6 says, "Without faith it is impossible to please God." But what they don't tell you is what happens when your faith pleases him in the middle of hell itself. When you choose trust in the valley of the shadow of death. When you pick worship over worry, praise over panic, surrender over suicide. Heaven erupts. Do you understand what you did? You thought you were just trying to survive. You thought you were barely holding on. You thought you were weak, broken, finished. But hell saw something different. Hell saw a warrior who refused to bow. Hell saw someone who'd been hit with everything the enemy had, and you were still standing, still praying, still believing. The devil had a whole speech lined up about you. He had scripture twisted, accusations perfected, evidence compiled. He was ready to present his case for why you should be destroyed, why you'd finally proven unworthy, why God should give up on you. And your attitude made every single word collapse. James 4:7 says, "Resist the devil, and he will flee from you." But in that moment, beloved, you didn't even have to speak against him. Your stubborn faith, your ridiculous trust, your absolutely insane decision to keep believing when everything said you shouldn't, that was resistance. That was warfare. That was the kind of spiritual violence that makes demons tremble. Lucifer fell silent because he had nothing left to say. Your attitude disarmed his argument. Your faith dismantled his accusations. Your trust in the darkness destroyed his entire case. Now here's the part that's going to bring you to tears. You thought nobody clapped for you. You thought nobody noticed. You thought you were alone in that room, in that pain, in that moment of choosing God when choosing God made no logical sense. But heaven stood up. Not just God, not just Jesus, not just the Holy Spirit, every angel elder, every soul that's ever overcome. They rose to their feet, and the applause in the throne room was so loud, so thunderous, so absolutely overwhelming that if you'd heard it with your earthly ears, you would have collapsed. They were celebrating the one the world forgot, the one society dismissed, the one your own family overlooked. Heaven was throwing you a standing ovation. If you're watching this right now with tears running down your face, if your chest is tight and your hands are shaking, that's not emotion. That's confirmation. That's the Holy Spirit witnessing to your spirit that every word I'm speaking is true. That moment you thought meant nothing. It meant everything. But now comes the question that's going to determine the rest of your life. Now that you know what happened in heaven, how are you going to live on earth? Now that you know heaven was watching that moment when you refused to quit, let me show you exactly what kind of attitude makes God lean forward on his throne and held back away from your door. Because, beloved, this isn't theory anymore. This is warfare. And the weapon you've been carrying your whole life without even knowing it is the way you hold yourself when everything falls apart. Let me give you 3 spiritual postures that hell cannot handle. 3 attitudes that will shift the atmosphere in your home, silence the voices of accusation in your mind, and make demons tremble when you walk into a room. Attitude 1. Quiet trust under pressure. You're sitting in that doctor's office. The report just came back. The numbers aren't good. Your body's betraying you again. And in that moment, when panic wants to flood your chest, when fear wants to grip your throat, you make a choice. You whisper 5 words, "Lord, I don't understand, but I trust you." That's it. That's the attitude that makes heaven roar. You see, the enemy counts on your panic. He feeds on your fear. He builds kingdoms on your anxiety. But when you choose trust in the middle of pressure, you just cut off his food supply. Proverbs 3:5 says, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding." That word, lean, in Hebrew means to support yourself on something. You've been leaning on your own ability to figure it out, your own strength to fix it, your own wisdom to navigate it. But chosen one, what if God is asking you to stop leaning on what you can see and start resting on who you know He is? I'm talking to the grandmother whose pension doesn't stretch like it used to. I'm talking to the grandfather sitting alone in that apartment wondering why the kids don't call anymore. I'm talking to every senior who's watching their independence slip away one doctor's appointment at a time. Your attitude in that pressure isn't resignation. It's not giving up. It's something far more powerful. It's the decision to trust a God who has kept you alive this long, who has walked you through every storm before this one, who has never once left you stranded. Here's your practical weapon. When the pressure hits, when the fear rises, take 3 deep breaths. With each breath say it, "I don't understand, but I trust you." Don't rush it. Let it settle into your bones. This isn't denial, this is warfare. Because every time you choose trust over panic, you're announcing to the spiritual realm that your God is bigger than your crisis. Attitude 2. Dignified silence around foolish people. Now this one's going to save your peace and probably extend your life by 10 years. You know exactly who I'm talking about. That family member who disrespects you at every gathering. That neighbor who gossips about everyone, including you. That person at church who always has something slick to say. The adult child who talks to you like you're a burden instead of the reason they're alive. Here's what I need you to understand with crystal clarity. You don't debate demons. You don't negotiate with narcissism. Sometimes the holiest thing you can do is shut your mouth and keep your peace. This is New York Real Talk right now. Proverbs 26:4 says, "Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou also be like unto him." That doesn't mean you're weak. That means you're wise. That doesn't mean they won. That means you refuse to play a game with someone who doesn't know the rules of respect. Your silence isn't surrender. Your silence is strength wrapped in dignity. Your silence is you saying, "I'm not going to let your chows steal my calm. I'm not going to let your disrespect destroy my peace. I'm not going to waste the breath God gave me arguing with someone who isn't interested in understanding." Listen to me carefully. Every word you don't say to a fool is a prayer you're storing in heaven. Every argument you refuse to enter is spiritual capital you're investing. Every time you bite your tongue instead of defending yourself, you're letting God be your defender. And here's what hell hates about that attitude. When you stop defending yourself, God starts defending you. When you stop fighting your battles with words, heaven starts fighting your battles with power. Practical tool: the next time someone disrespects you, picture Jesus before Pilate. They accused him. They mocked him. They spat on him. And Isaiah 53:6 says, "He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth." Yet the Son of God could stand silent while being falsely accused. You can keep quiet when your know-it-all nephew tries to lecture you about your life. Your dignified silence is a weapon they don't have a defense against. Attitude fade gratefulness in small things. Now this one's going to revolutionize your final decades on earth. You woke up this morning. That's not small, that's monumental. Your heart is still beating. Your lungs are still breathing. You can still taste your coffee, feel the warmth of the sun through your window, hear the birds outside. Hell wants you focused on what you've lost. Heaven wants you grateful for what remains. 1 Thessalonians 5:10 says, "In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God, not for everything but in everything." Even in the hardness, even in the loss, even in the loneliness, there are still mercies to count. You think gratefulness is just polite. No, gratefulness is militant. Gratefulness is spiritual warfare. Because every time you thank God for small things, you're declaring that your joy isn't dependent on big things. Every time you express gratitude in hardship, you're announcing that your peace isn't controlled by your circumstances. This attitude makes heaven roar because it reflects maturity. It shows you've learned what most people never learn, that life isn't about what you accumulate but about who walks with you. That blessing isn't measured in bank accounts but in breath. That wealth isn't counted in dollars but in days. Practical weapon: before your feet hit the floor every morning, say 3 things out loud. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for this day. Thank you that I'm still here. Don't move until you've done it. This isn't wishful thinking. This is you setting the spiritual atmosphere for your entire day. Mid-video CTER, your commitment moment. Right now, I need you to make a choice, not tomorrow, not next week. Right now. Which one of these 3 attitudes is God pressing on your heart? Is it trust? Is it silence? Is it gratitude? I want you to go to the comments and write it down. Don't overthink it. Just type, "I choose trust," or "I choose silence," or "I choose gratitude." Let heaven witness your decision. Let this community stand with you. Because here's what you need to know. Your attitude has already moved things in the spiritual realm that you can't see yet. Doors are opening. Chains are breaking. Angels are moving. And in the next few minutes, I'm pulling back the curtain on what your attitude has already shifted in places you've never seen. Are you ready to discover what heaven's been doing while you've been standing? The ripple effect of one right attitude. Listen to me, chosen one. While you thought you were just surviving, heaven was recording. While you felt forgotten, the spirit realm was being restructured because of you. You want to know what really happened behind the veil? Let me show you what your attitude set in motion. That job you did get in 2025, the one that crushed you, the one where you prayed and fasted and believed God for breakthrough, then watched them give it to someone half your age with half your experience. You remember crying in your car, wondering if God even heard you. You remember the shame of telling your spouse they went another direction. But here's what you couldn't see. That company collapsed 3 years later. The stress would have triggered the heart attack you didn't know was already forming. The boss was an abuser who destroyed everyone under him. That rejection wasn't God ignoring you. That was God yanking you out of a building that was already on fire. Your attitude when that door slammed, you didn't curse God, you didn't give up. You whispered through tears, "I still trust you." And heaven marked that moment. Because your attitude kept you from running back to what God was trying to rescue you from. Proverbs 19:21 says, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." Every closed door you thought was rejection was actually divine redirection. Every disappointment that felt like punishment was protection you couldn't see yet. But it goes deeper than just you. You're a grandparent, aren't you? Maybe your kids stopped calling. Maybe they walked away from everything you taught them about faith. Maybe they're living lives that break your heart every single day. And in those midnight hours when you can't sleep, when you're on your knees crying out for children who don't even know you're praying, you've wondered if your prayers are hitting the ceiling and falling back down. Let me tell you what's really happening. Your attitude when your kids turned cold. Heaven took note for your grandchildren. Every tear you've cried in secret has been stored. Psalm 15 declares, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle." Your patience isn't weakness. Your persistent prayer isn't wasted. You're breaking generational chains right now. That grandson who's 2 years old and seems lost, he's going to remember you. 20 years from now, when life breaks him, he's going to hear your voice in his memory saying, "God is faithful." And that's going to be the thread that pulls him back from the edge. You think you failed your children? No. You're saving your children's children. Your attitude planted seeds that won't bloom until you're gone, but they will bloom. Heaven's already watering them. But there's more you don't know. Let me tell you about the angels. While you've been walking through your normal days, thinking nothing's changed, there's been movement in the heavenly realm. When your attitude shifted from complaint to worship, from bitterness to trust, from "why me" to "even still I believe," God repositioned his angels. Psalm 101 promises, "He will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." But here's what most people miss. The level of angelic protection you receive is connected to your posture in spiritual warfare. Your attitude didn't just affect you. It triggered reassignment in the spirit realm. Right now, there are angels watching your house that weren't assigned there 3 years ago. There's protection on your medication that's keeping side effects from manifesting. There's a shield over your heart that's preventing the stress from turning into the stroke the enemy planned. There's a guard on your mind that's pushing back dementia, confusion, every attack on your mental clarity. You didn't know it, but your attitude made God send extra security detail. While you were just trying to get through Tuesday, heaven was upgrading your protection level. While you were washing dishes and wondering if your life mattered, supernatural forces were being deployed because of how you responded to what tried to break you. You want to know why you're still here when others your age are gone. It's not luck. It's not genetics. It's angels who were repositioned because your attitude in the fire made God say, Protect that one at all costs. And here's what's going to shake you. If hell could talk freely, if demons could testify without lying, they would admit something that would blow your mind. They would confess, "We tried our best on this one. We sent the strongest spirits. We orchestrated the worst betrayals. We lined up every attack in the book, but we couldn't break them." Your attitude became the one thing hell couldn't penetrate. They threw everything at you, and you're still standing. You're still believing. You're still trusting God when nothing makes sense. That's not human strength. That's supernatural defiance. That's what happens when someone decides their faith isn't based on their feelings, but on the character of God. Now that you know what's already shifting behind the scenes, now that you understand your attitude has been moving pieces on a chessboard you couldn't even see, here's the question that's going to determine everything. What happens when you step into the prophetic part of this message, knowing that your response has this much power? From survival to assignment. Listen to me, chosen one. While you were surviving, heaven was strategizing. While you were just trying to make it through another day, God was preparing you for something you can't even see yet. You thought you were forgotten. You thought your purpose expired when your body slowed down, when your children stopped calling, when the church moved on without you. But let me tell you something that's going to shatter that lie right now. Heaven did not scream over your attitude just to sit you on a spiritual shelf. You are not done yet. I know what you've been thinking late at night. I'm just waiting to die. My best years are gone. I'm useless now. But that voice isn't God's voice. That's the enemy trying to bench you before the fourth quarter even starts. Because he knows something you're about to discover. You're not just waiting to die. You're carrying wisdom this generation desperately needs. Look around you. This nation is drowning in noise but starving for truth. Young people are lost, confused, being lied to by every screen they touch. Families are fracturing. Churches are compromising. And who does God trust to stand firm when everything else is shaking? Not the untested. Not the comfortable. He trusts the ones who've been through the fire and came out still believing. That's you. Psalm 2:4 says it plainly. They will still bear fruit in old age. They will stay fresh and green. Not dried up. Not useless. Not forgotten. God doesn't retire his warriors when they turn 70. He positions them as generals. But here's where this gets personal. Here's where I need you to lean in and really hear me. Your assignment in this season is not to run anymore. Your assignment is to anchor. You think because your body can't move like it used to, you've lost your power. No, you've gained a different kind of power. The power of presence. The power of stability. The power of being the one who doesn't panic when everyone else is losing their minds. Let me tell you what your assignment looks like right now, today in the middle of your ordinary life. Pray for your family by name. Not quick prayers, strategic prayers. You know their struggles. You know their weaknesses. You know where the enemy has been attacking your bloodline for generations. Get on your knees and break those chains. Your prayers carry more weight now than they ever have because you've seen God's faithfulness across decades. Be a quiet pillar in your community. You don't need a platform. You don't need a title. You just need to show up. That neighbor who's going through hell right now, they're watching you. They're watching how you handle your own pain with grace. They're watching how you still smile even though your body hurts. You're preaching without saying a word. Speak life into younger people. I don't care if it's your grandchild, the cashier at the grocery store, or someone who comments on a video like this. Your voice matters. Your encouragement matters. One word from you can redirect someone's entire trajectory because your words carry the authority of experience. This generation needs to see that it's possible to walk with God for 50, 60, 70 years and still have fire in your bones. They need to see that faith doesn't weaken with age, it deepens. They need proof that God keeps his promises, and you are that proof. Your assignment now is not to run, but to anchor. But I'm about to release something over your life right now that's going to shift the atmosphere around you. These aren't just nice words. These are prophetic declarations, and when you receive them, something changes in the spirit realm. Your latter days will be marked by more peace than chaos. The storm you've been living in, it's breaking. Isaiah 46:4 says, "Even to your old age and grey hairs I am he who will sustain you." Sustain doesn't mean survive. It means thrive. Your home will be a place of unusual calm. The warfare that's been attacking your mind, your sleep, your rest, it's ending. Where there was constant attack in your mind, there will be divine rest. The racing thoughts at Theraim, they're being silenced. The anxiety that gripped your chest, it's being replaced with the peace that passes understanding. The relationships that were broken are being restored. I'm talking about that child who walked away, that grandchild who doesn't call, that friend who betrayed you. God is shifting hearts right now. What looked dead is about to resurrect. Your prayers are about to be answered with unusual speed. Things you've been praying about for years, they're accelerating. God's been storing up those prayers in golden bowls, and they're about to be poured out. If you receive this, if something in your spirit is saying, "Yes, this is for me," I need you to do two things right now. Say it out loud where you are. I receive it. Don't just think it. Speak it. And then type it in the comments so it becomes a public agreement between you and heaven. Because you are not leftovers, chosen one. You are lighthouses. And in these last few minutes, we're going to seal this with a prayer that's going to terrify hell and activate everything heaven has been preparing. But first, you need to understand why your attitude, the very thing that made God scream, has positioned you for this exact moment in history. Living so heaven keeps screaming your name. Beloved, we've walked a long road together this hour. And if you're still here, still listening, still breathing heavy because something in your chest won't let you look away, then you know this wasn't just another message. This was a mirror. This was a meeting. This was God himself leaning down to whisper your name. You learned something today that most people will never understand. You learned that heaven watches your attitude, not just your prayers, not just your church attendance, your attitude. The way you respond when the medical bill comes and you don't have the money. The way you choose your words when your own children treat you like you're invisible. The way you hold your heart when everything in you wants to scream at God for letting it hurt this long. Heaven was watching. Heaven was taking notes. And chosen one, there was a moment when your attitude made God scream your name so loud that even Lucifer fell silent. Let that sink in. The enemy who has been screaming accusations at you for 70, 80 years suddenly went quiet. Not because you were perfect, but because your attitude in the fire made hell realize it had already lost. But here's what I need you to understand as we close this sacred hour together. This message wasn't just about looking back at what happened. This is about what happens next. This is about tomorrow morning when you wake up and your body hurts and the loneliness hits and the bills are still there and the phone still doesn't ring. What will your attitude be then? I want to invite you into something right now, not force you, not manipulate you, but invite you. If you know in your spirit that your attitude needs God's touch, if you know there are places in your heart where bitterness has been building, where anger has been festering, where fear has been whispering lies, I want you to put your hand on your chest right now. Right where you are. Living room. Kitchen table at 2 a.m. Put your hand on your heart. Because what I'm about to pray over you is going to break chains you didn't even know were there. Father, I come before you now with every precious soul still listening to my voice. Lord, you see them. You see the tears they've cried in secret. You see the prayers they've whispered when hope felt like a stranger. You see the nights they almost gave up but chose to take one more breath. God, they need your touch on their attitude, not because they're bad people, but because they're tired people, they're hurt people. They're people who've been carrying weight that was never meant for human shoulders. So right now, in the authority of Jesus' name, I speak healing over wounded hearts. I speak strength over weary spirits. I speak peace over anxious minds. Touch their attitude, Lord. Where there's been bitterness, plant forgiveness. Where there's been fear, breathe courage. Where there's been defeat, resurrect hope. And I want every person listening to say this with me. Say it out loud. Let your own voice hear what your spirit already knows. Lord, even in my pain, I'll keep my heart right. Say it again, louder this time. Lord, even in my pain, I'll keep my heart right. One more time. Let heaven hear you. Lord, even in my pain, I'll keep my heart right. Chosen one, I need you to hear something that's going to rewrite how you see yourself. You are not a victim wandering through your final years waiting to die. You are a chosen one walking through your finest years learning to fly. Heaven already screamed over you. The courtroom of eternity already ruled in your favor. Hell already lost its case against your soul. You think your attitude doesn't matter because you're old, because you're tired, because nobody's watching. God is watching. And every single time you choose faith over fear, every single time you choose gratitude over grumbling, every single time you choose to worship instead of worry, it's like turning up the volume in heaven and turning down the volume in hell. Your attitude is a sound system in the spirit realm. And chosen one, heaven wants to keep hearing your frequency. So live like someone God is proud of. Live like someone whose name makes demons nervous. Live like someone who knows that even when the body gets weaker, the spirit gets stronger. Live knowing that heaven has already shouted over you. But I need something from you before you leave this moment. If this message spoke to your soul, if something shifted in your spirit, don't let it stay trapped on your screen. There's someone in your life right now who's fighting quietly. Someone who feels forgotten. Someone who thinks their attitude doesn't matter anymore. Share this message with them. Be the vessel that carries hope to someone who's running out of reasons to hold on. And save this video. Come back to it on the nights when you feel invisible. On the mornings when getting out of bed feels like climbing a mountain. On the days when your attitude wants to slip and you need to remember that heaven is still watching, still cheering, still screaming your name. If you want more messages that speak to the war you're really fighting, the battles nobody sees, the victories nobody celebrates, stay connected here. Subscribe not because I need numbers, but because you need reminders. You need a voice that understands that your struggle is real and your calling is bigger. From now on, chosen one, live knowing this truth. Heaven didn't scream your name once and move on. Heaven keeps screaming it. Every morning you wake up, every prayer you whisper, every choice you make to keep your heart right when everything around you goes wrong. Your attitude made God scream. Don't you ever forget it. Now go walk in that authority, live in that identity, and let heaven keep turning up the volume on your life until even Lucifer has to cover his ears. God bless you mightily, chosen one. This isn't goodbye. This is see you in the next battle, and you're going to win it with the same weapon you've been carrying all along. Your unbreakable, heaven-shaking, hell-silencing attitude. Amen.